You guys ever try to run and play a trumpet at the same time? Oh my God, I'm out of shape. I got myself a Nissan 350Z. You know the first thing you do? Rip the bumpers off. We're doing bash bars only. Exhaust? What are you talking about? You just need a tube. Straight pipe, baby. Straight pipe, straight pipe. I'm ready for some takeovers. I'm gonna hit a drift event, and I'm gonna get bumped to A-class. First event, no bumpers. You got this shit, baby. And then we're going back to a takeover on the way home. Ooh-wee! This is a 2008 Nissan 350Z, and it is kind of awful, but also really good. Let me explain.
The Nissan 350Z has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. Let's start with the cons. Con number 1, the stigma. When I think of 350Z, all I can think of is...
Hey, you can't park there! You can't park there!
Just the stereotypical fuckboy. That's what I think of when I picture a 350Z owner. And I'm not the only person, too. I've gone on the 350Z forums, and a lot of Z owners hate Z owners. Kinda crazy. I know that's stereotypical, and there's plenty of people that track their Z and build beautiful cars, and you know, just with anything, there's somebody that's got to ruin the party. But from my perspective and what I've seen on the internet, I see these things getting absolutely thrashed on, doing donuts in the middle of fucking intersections, just looking stupid. Or like I was making a joke earlier saying that they don't have bumpers, they're all straight pipe, they fucking have burble tunes. So it's an image, that's for sure. It's kind of a fuckboy car. I hate to put it that way, but like I just think loud, obnoxious, they think it's fast. They're not fast, by the way. They're quick, but they're not fast. Don't tell them that I said that, but they're good cars. And I think that they have gotten a bad rap by a certain demographic of freaking young, dumbass kids that have very little taste in their modifications. And, you know, it's just the stigma of it. Like, I know plenty of people that like drift these things that are super dope guys, and I know people that track theirs and it looks stock like this one, and they say the same thing. They're like, no, I don't know. Like, I'm ironically a Z-boy. Like, it's just kind of that thing. People either love the 350Z or they hate the 350Z, and it's partially because of the owners. And honestly, that's kind of how I feel about like WRXs and stuff too. Like, it's like Jeep Wranglers and WRXs. Are they particularly bad? No, not at all. But did the owners ruin it for me? Maybe a little bit. Con number 2, the interior. This interior is fucking awful. I don't care who tries to tell me otherwise that it's not that bad, bro. Like, everything's shitty. Every fucking thing in here sucks. The interior build quality is subpar at best. Like, it's plastic Nissan Altima early 2000s interior. This is a 2008, and pretty much anything from the year 2000 to 2010 Nissan, it all looks the same to me. It's just plasticky, fake brushed aluminum stuff all over the place. The paint is just blowing off. Every touch point is absolutely hammered in this car. This car was a single owner car. The steering wheel, it's ripped. It's sun faded. It's just disgusting. The freaking plastic, like, it's not even like they're touching it that much. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's so sticky. Like, it's not like the guy I bought it from was like an icky dude. It's just like the material they made it out of, it's just deteriorating, and things are just sticky and they look gross. The plastic is everywhere. There's not a single piece of metal anywhere inside the car. It's all just plastic, and I don't know. Maybe I just got a bad one. Maybe mine's just not as nice as some of them. But regardless, the design of the interior is just not it. The seats themselves aren't particularly bad. I'm a tiny little fella. But I just could not for the life of me get a nice seating position where I'm like, this seat's comfortable. It's secure, like you're ripping around twisties and stuff. It feels secure. Like the bolstering's not that bad. It's just not comfortable. I mean, but I just couldn't fucking get the seating position to feel natural. And I slowly adjusted it over and over and over and over. And I finally found a position where I'm like, all right, this is okay. The stereo, aesthetically, it looks like shit. Sound-wise, it's like a 3 or 4 out of 10. It leaves more to be desired. Con number 3, practicality. Now, I know, practicality, it has to do with the interior, but it's a different animal. There's no glove box, which I think is silly. Like, just a convenience factor to be able to reach over and grab something, that would be nice to have. Rather than having it in front of the passenger seat, it's behind the passenger seat. So in order to get anything, you have to fold the passenger seat down to grab anything out of the glove box. There's also a bunch of little cubbies and little flip down things. Like, there's just so many unnecessary compartments that, I don't know, you're not putting anything worthwhile in there. I mean, I guess some people find a use to have it. Like, there's little side notch thing on the side of the seats, and I don't know. Realistically, though, the back, it is deceiving. There's that big strut bar in the back that goes across the entire back, and it allows for nothing. Like, you can't put anything big into it. You're fitting another person in there. You have no back seats. The trunk can't fit anything. So, overall, if you're going to try and daily drive one of these cars, you're just going to have to live with it. You're not going to be picking anything big up. Maybe you could throw roof racks or something on it, I guess. But it's a sports car. Like, come on. Con number 4, the sound. This car makes okay sounds. Like, it doesn't bother me until you put an exhaust on it. But it just doesn't sound like a sports car, in my opinion. Inside the cabin, sounds like a dildo turned up to 11. That's kind of the hum you get. As for outside of the car, it doesn't sound particularly terrible with the stock exhaust. But, big but, if you're gonna buy a sports car, especially a Japanese sports car, what's the first modification you want to do? You want to put an exhaust on it. And what happens when you put an exhaust on these? You start a fucking marching band, apparently. You've got the freaking trumpet, trombone quartet going on. I have diligently been doing my research to try and find an exhaust that I actually like to try and put on this thing. And I found a couple. I don't want it to be droning in here. That's one of the biggest things. And I don't want it to sound too trumpety. So you kind of have to be particular with what you're going to do. But regardless, the sound of the engine and the sound of the exhaust, they don't do it for me. Con number 5, the blind spots. I know that's a stupid thing to bitch about. You don't gotta tell me. You can't see shit. If you go to turn around, I cannot see anything in this whole quarter of the vehicle.
No need to see what's going on behind you when you're winning races, baby.
Now let's talk about some pros of the 350Z chassis. Pro number 1, versatility. As far as sports cars go, these things, pretty fantastic at everything. If you want to turn it into a drift car, that is probably the best drift car that you can get right now for seat time. You get in, throw some coilovers on it, modded knuckles, welded diff, bada bing, bada boom. Throw a seat and a steering wheel on it if you want to be extra, and then you just absolutely thrash the hell out of it. Perfect drift car. I also know that these cars are fantastic track cars. I haven't drifted the car around, but I have gone down some back roads, and it feels awesome. It feels really, really good. So I can only imagine that taking this thing to a track, it would be a pretty competitive car. It's like if a Mustang was good at handling. Like, not the new Mustangs. Like, it's like a early 2000s Mustang was like really good at handling. That's kind of how I feel inside of this thing. This car could also be a daily. I kind of bought this with the intentions to daily it. It's not a good daily. It's kind of good, I guess. Like, the gas mileage is all right. Driving it on the street, you've got plenty of pep to overtake people. It's not going to be breaking any necks or anything. But for a daily driver, you could do it. It's not good at it, but you could do it. Maybe you want to make a stance car. Honestly, this is a pretty sick platform for a stance car. You could fit massive wheels on it. Like, the recommended wheel specs on this thing for like what I want, which is no stance at all, just kind of like a nice daily comfortable fitment, is 10.5s out back. Like, that's pretty good. If you wanted to really dump the car, you could probably fit some juicy wheels under there. Freaking 12s out back, 10.5s in the front. You do you, boo-boo. If you want to have an undrivable sports car, this might be the one. Pro number 2, modability. There is so much aftermarket support for these vehicles, it's actually kind of crazy. Anything you can think of, multiple brands make different products, and you pretty much got it covered. The potential to mod the car is fantastic. You could do all sorts of stuff. There's plenty of body kits. You could swap engines in. Pretty much anything you want, you can buy. You can buy chassis harnesses, engine swap harnesses. Anything you want to do to this 350Z chassis, then there's somebody who's done it. Pro number 3, handling. A lot of people on YouTube have said that these cars, the steering feels numb and da-da-da-da. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I've driven a lot of cars and this steering is pretty good in my opinion. The handling feels awesome. Like, it does feel heavy. It doesn't feel like you're driving a Miata or anything, but it's not super light. It's very direct. I know a lot of cars you get in and you go to steer and it's just a little too light. And then there's the other thing where it's a little too heavy and not direct. I think for this platform, it's amazing. It's really, really good. It's just heavy enough, but it's not numb to me. A lot of people think that it's numb. Whatever. You're entitled to your own opinion. That's fine. But I think these cars handle awesome. The suspension set up in a way like even bone stock where you point and shoot. Like, there's not a crazy amount of body roll. It's not miserable going over bumps or anything. I'm sure it'll change once I put coilovers on it, but in stock form, pretty fucking good. Pro number 4, the transmission. In my opinion, the 350Z has one of the best shifter feels in the business. A lot of people turn to the CD09 and they put it in anything, from JZ cars to SR cars to LS powered cars. It's one of those transmissions where it's sturdy, like robust. You can buy them brand new. Like, that's pretty sick, but they feel really, really good. Pro number 5, the power. You could say that this is a con too. Like, the 350Z dudes, they think these things are hot shit. They think they're so fucking fast. They're not. They're not fast cars. But 300 horsepower is perfect for anything I want to do. Realistically, on twisties, if I was to go drive this car full bore, I'm crashing into a fucking tree. I can't handle the power. Like, I'm used to driving Miatas where you can drive, like, hard. I like 300 to 400. That is the perfect little sweet spot of car where it's not unusable. If it's a track dedicated car, go for it. Freaking 500-600, do whatever you want. But if you want to drive a car on the street, and you're not just trying to go on straight lines, then yeah, I think 300 to 400, pretty good. So this thing makes 306, I think. It's the HR model, so probably makes like 280 to the crank, or 280 to the wheels rather. That's pretty good. I think that's awesome. I'm sure there's plenty of pros and cons, and they're all subjective. So do your own research, drive the car if you're interested in one, see if it's something that you actually want. I bought this car and I don't actually know if I want it, and I already own it. The story is I lowballed the guy on Facebook and he took it. You can't just lowball somebody and then be like, yeah, and then you gotta pick it up. So I paid $6,500 for this Nissan 350Z, and I think it was a pretty good buy. For $6,500, I've wasted more money on stupider things, for sure. When you buy a $6,500 Nissan 350Z HR, it's bound to have its problems. Let me show you. As stated before, the interior is absolutely hammered. The steering wheel is messed up. All the touch points are all sad. Anything that you touch is just absolutely hammered. Like, even stuff you don't touch. Like, why the hell is this all flaking off? Like, it just looks bad. The interior needs some work. As for the outside, the paint is absolutely rocked. There's so many spots where there's little dings, there's dents, the paint is flaking off, the clear coat is failing, it's rubbed through. It's not a very good paint job. Like, the color itself is pretty sweet. It's got this dark blue metallic look to it, and it's a pretty cool color. I would really appreciate it if it wasn't just hammered. There's the whole front bumper, as it looks like, dude, it looks like it's got little polka dots on it. It's just so messed up. Another problem with my Z is this headlight. It's freaking got all sorts of condensation in it, and it works half the time. So I bought a new ballast for it, and since it's cracked and it looks goofy, I'm gonna put some different headlights in it. I think I've been looking at like the depot lights, but I'm not sure. I really do like the look of the factory headlights, but I don't want to spend $600 on one headlight and then have the other one not look as new, so I'll probably pick up some aftermarket lights. Last problem I have with this car in particular is it doesn't fucking drift. All right, we're lined up. That had to be one. Hey, dude, what the hell, man? That's one wheel. That's... It doesn't have a limited slip diff. No donuts? No burnouts? Meh. I definitely don't want to weld the diff either. I'm not trying to weld the diff in this thing. Unless it turns into a drift car. I have a fucking problem, though. I keep buying cars and turning them into drift cars. I need to not do that. But I keep buying rear-wheel drive manual transmission cars, and what's the most fun thing you can do in them? Drift them! Drift them! I bought this car as like a daily, but who knows? Maybe it'll turn into a drift car one day. Maybe I just want to hit a corner every once in a while, you know? Just... I'm adding to the bad stigma. So let me know what you guys think I should do with this car. I mean, it would be cool to freaking drift, obviously, but I have tons of drift cars. Like, I've got my Miata, I've got Georgie, I've got my 240. 3 drift cars is probably too many, but who knows? Maybe I could turn this into a drift car eventually, but I don't know. What do you guys think I should do with this thing? You think I should sell it? Should I keep it and daily it? Should I turn it into a drift car? Maybe do a track car. I've never had a track car. I mean, like, I've had a drift car, but never something that is dedicated to go, like, racing. Like, this thing would be pretty freaking awesome to just take to a track or do autocross or something. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys made it to this far in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned to the next video I upload. I'm going to be turbocharging Georgie, the $100 Miata. It's going to be a series of probably like 3 videos. I'm going to try and do it as cheap as absolutely possible with like the cheapest shit I could find. Just junkyard parts, Facebook Marketplace finds, anything I have lying around. I bought something at a yard sale. So pretty good stuff. I'm going to try and turbocharge Georgie for under $1,000. I'm also going to be giving away a turbo for nothing, completely free. The only thing you need to do to get entered to win this turbo is subscribe. So I will go into details in the next video for that one, but for now, like, comment, subscribe, and if you subscribe, you'll get entered to win this turbo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good night.